and hello. Welcome back to the Japanese Super Touring Championship, the inaugural national championship for Super Tourers in Japan, with a flyaway to Bathurst that hasn't appeared on the calendar just yet. We are going to be looking forward to that towards the end of summer and the motorsport season there. It's the fourth round, races 7 and 8 of this championship, and much like what we saw in Tokyo, the hierarchy of potential dominance is at the front of the grid, as you can well see there. You got your front four-wheel drive Mazdas and Toyotas alongside the Subarus, and the Mercedes propping up the mid-grid there. And then to add a bit more space, the front-wheel drive Hondas are still there or thereabouts. And peeking through the midfield in front of the two Hyundai is one of those chasing motorsports crown athletes, the big underdog story of this inaugural championship. Alongside me, Adrian Michael Rees, is Michael Swinnerton once more at Autopolis, a very secluded venue and one we had difficulty getting to, I must admit, Swinny.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I've never been here before, but it is quite nice now that we've found the place.
And it still throws back to its inaugural launch. There's not been any changes whatsoever to the layout that was unveiled in the very early 90s. Meant to host Formula One, but was not to be. But still plenty of entertainment this weekend. More entertainment to come. Lights go out, away we go. And a very straightforward start for the most part. The Hondas crawling slowly back. The Mercedes, however, absolute flyer from 8th and 10th, 5th and 7th by the time we get to turn 1. Butcher, the favourite though, already gone. Narusai has fallen back behind Petsonia, but Takahashi Subaru also with a good start as well. That's the best we've seen them so far this season. Bit of a battle between the two Mercedes though, through the two left turns here before the first hairpin, as the high-speed traffic jam begins to calm down, hopefully by the end of the first lap.
Yeah, you saw the Hondas go backwards on the line again, which is part of the course, sadly enough. But Suzuki's already made up a couple of spots from that bad start on the back of the Mercedes is here.
Yeah, Lotterer got up to 6th after the first turn, but you saw him have a bit of a wobble on through the 100R. Here's the second hairpin.
Suzuki going to ring it around the outside. That hairpin does have some banking to it, and he's managed to make it stick.
One of the more awkward anti-camber before the big camber at the bottom of the roller coaster straight into the twistiest section of the track itself. Went the bottom up to 8th.
Yeah, he's had a quiet start, managed to make up a few spots, got in front of Rushdad's Subaru there.
This is the awkward S's just before the bridge.
I will admit, I was expecting a bit more from the Genesis team here, because I thought this track would suit the longer wheelbase of their car a bit better, but with their best car only being 8th place right now, and Muto way outside of the top 10 and possibly fighting for just points at this point.
Lap 1 complete then. Suzuki up to 6th as Schumacher is looking to fend for that 5th place as well. Lotterer has fallen back into the midst of Winterbottom.
Ooh, that's very sideways.
We've seen this on occasion with the Mercedes in practice, in testing, and definitely through qualifying here. We saw that happening. Expect to see that more as the race unfolds, especially when the grip starts to wear from the stock spec tyre that everyone has.
Yeah, that slide from Schumacher there caused everybody to back up into each other, which is what's caused this traffic jam right here. Everyone had to trip over each other to slow up in a point of the track where they're used to accelerate.
It was very much single file as the lap completed, but that mistake has caused this to occur once more. 100R again, a couple of side-by-sides as we go. And a little bit wide
taking a bit of a weird line back there.
Thankfully she did. May have been in a face full of privateer in front of her. Here's the hairpin again. This is Very rare to see an anti-camber hairpin like that anywhere in the world, let alone Japan. But all sets up for the roller coaster here. Not the most overtake potential of the circuit. That's the main straight more than anything. All the tropes of a typical Iberian circuit, long straight and then infield. The best they can manage. A solitary Japanese individual's vision of what a circuit should look like to compete with what's further up the country in Japan, in Suzuka, for instance, which is why this never really got off the ground as a world sports car venue first off in 1991, but has been used for Japanese events since national championships, Formula Nippon, Super GT, and this the inaugural Touring Championship. Suzuki now gaining ground on Schumacher. Is Schumacher going to have the same wobble on that Lotterer did? Not
quite.
that time. Lotterer definitely did then, now that Winterbottom's gone ahead. We missed that, but there's Anthony Ingram.
Yeah, he's made a good start, made his way up through the field from a very lowly qualifying position. He's picked a few cars off, got himself just into the top 10.
And
I
Jack
think he
Skiff
might be faster than the Mercedes in front of him for now. He's just got to find a way past.
And here comes the mirror. There is the Crown Athlete, which is still running on a shoestring. They're not under budget, but they are clinging on for as much as they can. Ide, the sort of pioneer of this team, if not the team owner, he has put a lot of money into this himself. Bit of a risk, all things considered, but there's works cars either side of him, in front and behind, including one of the. In fact, that is a poor start qualifying Mazda. We saw his teammate further up the field, still in second. That's Katayama there, trying to make up for lost time in qualifying.
Yeah, I heard that poor Okiko here, she was just chasing the setup on that car. Her and her race engineer just could not work out how to get the car to behave through the slow, twisty first half of this track, and then get it to behave through this section right here, which is going to feel clumsy in a touring car anyways, because it's built for, essentially open wheel race cars. So anything that's not super formula is going to feel weird around that bit.
We also expected the Atenza version of the Mazda to be further up as well. That is in the midst of the privateer battle, which these are the 5 privateers right here, line astern. It's the first time that's happened in a while. In fact, I think that's the first time it's happened in the Japanese Championship. The Worlds, we've seen an overlap.
There's a bit of overlap going on at the minute, because you've got Ingram
and Nakano's last.
in the top 10, plus the 2 Crown athletes, who apparently cannot be stopped. As again, lowly qualifying position, and have just made their way forwards into the points, knocking on the back end of the top 10.
It's hard to differentiate when you've got those Mitsubishis in there as well, how works they actually are, or how privateer they actually are. Especially if the Crown athletes are going to be doing so well in amongst a lot of these works efforts, that don't expect these two side by side to be in amongst those particular pigeons. Muto behind in the second of the Genesi. Ellen Frenson 15th.
Just clinging onto the back end of the points paying position. So Katayama, who did so well in the last round, and Mazda are at the sharp end of the Constructors' Championship. Here she is, outside of the points. That's not going to do them any favours at all, especially with Toyota being first and third right now.
They did manage to get ahead of Katayama. So definitely set up issues there if it's not climbing up the tree of performance. Takahashi in 4th. Very good position for the Subaru, all things considered. Just behind what is effectively the outright favourite for the championship, with all of Toyota's might put against it, without a world's or a European factory effort to take into consideration. This is the car that should be winning races. Well, there is one right now. It is leading. Narusai one win at Fuji, but here comes Subaru to get onto the potential podium place for race 1, down the inside. But then what very well defended considering the potential loss of control there.
Yeah, both cars had a bit of a wobble there, which just prevented Naruse from getting the crossover move and being back on the inside of Takahashi into turn 3 here. It does seem like Naruse's just holding people up a little bit, or was. This train now headed by Pitsonia in the Mazda, so Takahashi could end up with 2nd place here if he's not careful.
We did see a brief glimpse of Butcher, so things might not be as we earlier predicted. Wobble on through the 100. We saw a lot of that in qualifying, and thankfully no one's dramatically flying it off as badly as they did in practice.
Yeah, it's very easy just to run a little bit wide out the 100R and catch your back wheel. There he goes.
What a dive bomb from
Takahashi trying for 2nd place. He's going to make it stick.
Has it got the legs down the roller coaster?
Apparently.
Yes, it does.
Pitsonia has a little look on the inside just to try and upset the car in front and get the position back, but that's not going to happen. There is a Subaru in 2nd place.
And there is a Mitsubishi a Mercedes down to 6th. It was in a promising position, despite being potentially out of place market-wise. At least it is in the substantial points-paying positions, rather than the struggle bus that we saw from the team at Fuji, at Kyoto. Tokyo, though, it seemed they've sort of found their feet.
Yeah, they worked something out with that car, and it seems to be making it stick a little bit more here as well, with a solid run at Autopolis.
Winterbottom and then Scaife, but there's also Ingram to contend with as well in this chain. Winterbottom with a bit of a speed boost ahead of, about to go ahead of Schumacher. Sending it. Didn't look like there was a slide on from Schumacher, but Lotterer once again with the slight loss of control, giving Scaife something to think about, giving England something to think about as well.
They're all over the back of Schumacher now.
You can see the amount of rake on that car, the amount that the Mercedes have had to put in the air from the back of that car to try and keep that thing grounded. Still a chain throughout the first hairpin, all the way to the 100 hours of stand. So Butcher has lost some time. Takahashi might be on for something more important and a better look.
He's having a look. He's having a send.
That is going to be Butcher not very happy with that, I must surmise. We'll have to find out later.
Butcher tried to close the door there, but Takahashi had his foot firmly in there and said, no, 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 I am here.
Naruse still 4th. There's Pitsonia. So despite the predicted getaway from Butcher and Naruse, this is we're halfway through, and things are beginning to spice up a little. Now that there's a Subaru did we expect this to be leading races this early on?
I mean, the Subarus so far have shown flashes of very good speed and then flashes of sort of so middling pace. So it's nice to see. I've always figured the Subaru would be a bit of a dark horse in this championship, of something to look out for as a just in case something silly happens. They're going to be waiting in the wings and be there to pick up the pieces. But it's nice to see them actually
with an alternate line in the background.
It's nice to see them actually leading on pace and proving that they do actually have the legitimate speed rather than
Ingram's questionable choice of line that didn't make any or didn't pay any dividends there, as the two Crown athletes now are there or thereabouts in the bottom of the top 50, well, scraping into the top 10 almost. Alan Frenson there, still 15th, but still showing that she's showing some alternate lines that can be had around here.
Yeah, just like the Mercedes team, that privateer team with the Caterpillar sponsorship on their BMW are slowly working out what to do with that car setup wise, and are making improvements. Small improvements, but improvements every race weekend, it seems.
And Nakano is having a bit of a struggle. Subaru, however, then arch nemesis and four-wheel drive off-roading, are looking very happy right now. Butcher less so, but still a decent position for what is effectively his first visit to a full season in Japan. Should things stay as they are.
Yeah, the only track that Butcher's been to, the only two tracks on the calendar that Butcher's actually raced around before is Fuji and Bathurst. A lot of these are brand new for him, where he's got to learn. I believe he's been using some simulator work to get his head around the route.
Certainly.
But then utilising a lot of, or if not every practice session, every second of every practice session to learn the tracks. And it's showing it's, paying dividends so far, as he is in second, and comfortably in second for now.
And quietly, Genesis are being very present in the top, almost in the top 5. So it's a good look for Winterbottom. Not much so for the Muto Genesis further back. And there goes another massive wobble on, this time for Narusai, who should know better. I'm surprised at that.
I don't think he was doing that deliberately to show off. I have a funny feeling the Toyota is probably having the same little issue that the Mercedes is, and probably the Mazda to a lesser degree, in that they're four-wheel drive, but they're a short wheelbase, which is going to promote that rotation into corners very, very quickly, because it's going to kind of act like a go-kart in that regard, whereas the longer wheelbase cars have got a bit more stability in the rear because of it.
But he has still kept on to 4th place. I was expecting Suzuki or Winterbottom to actually gain some places there. Mercedes been a bit of a cork for Ingram, who is now thinking, hang on a minute, you're being too slow. Let me see what I can do to fix this. He's already ahead of one of them. Alternate line perhaps through the hairpin, and there goes Ide to the back of Lotterer.
Yeah, Lotterer slammed on the brakes extra hard there and got a caved-in boot lid for the trouble of it. I don't think Ide quite expected him to slow down that much and park it on the apex to that much of a degree, and it's caused everyone to trip up behind him again as we all go too wide.
So there are some scuff marks showing on those Crown athletes, but not where we expect them to be. We were expecting a big sort of Mercedes-shaped grille on the front of that E-Day Chaser Team Crown athlete, but obviously this car is a brick, and
that was opportunistic.
That was a brick move right there.
I think Lotterer's car has either he's burnt his tyres out or something's not quite working, because he's dropping backwards in a hurry right now.
I don't think Ide would be very happy with Lotterer then, because but that being said, his teammate Nomura has managed to take advantage of that as well. Ingram with the alternate line too.
Wow, Schumacher's taking a defensive line, and where are you going, Carl?
That's gone. He has lost the top 10 position at the very least. He is now going to be... Whoa, and the other one's gone as well.
Oh my
okay.
Lord.
This is what I was worried would happen in terms of positions. Fujiwara and Nakano are still further back, so that means Schumacher is safe from being given the wooden spoon at least. But
he's now outside the point, so any hope of further improving their efforts from the Tokyo Expressway race is now essentially in the bin, because Lottery looks like he's going to lose 14th there, and I dare say it's only going to be a matter of time before Katayama makes her way past, so this is going to be another nil point race for both Mercedes drivers. They are not going to be happy about this at all.
Especially behind a privateer Volkswagen in eBay colours. Anna de Grassi driving that Volkswagen Golf. Takahashi, Butcher, Pitsonia, your top 3. Narusai still fending off Suzuki.
Yeah, once again, we're seeing that these Hondas, essentially to use a NASCAR term, they have long run speed. So the further we get into this race, it seems that the faster and faster these Hondas go as they bring their rears up to temperature or whatever it is they're doing. It's working.
One in turn, so should Scaife, but he's still scraping into the top 10 as Ingram manages to benefit from the mishaps that Mercedes had. Scaife has Muto behind him and Rustad, the other Subaru.
Yeah, where one Subaru's got the setup right, the other one hasn't apparently. Rustad really kind of struggling compared to his teammate here.
This is allowing Ellen Frenson with her potential long-run pace, so to speak, scraping into a top 10 herself, perhaps, if all things are to be considered. She's doing well enough to be a threat to the works teams.
Yeah, she's in the points, and she is harassing Rustad here for 12th place. So all it takes is for other cars to pull a Mercedes, and she will be in the top 10. Although currently Muto has that 10th place finish, therefore, if everything stays as it is for the next lap and a half, Muto will have pole position for race 2.
And a good look for Genesis. Now, we've not really taken into consideration the fastest lap element here. The gap between the fastest and the slowest amongst the factory outfits isn't really that bad. You see Ingram's fastest lap there, 1:59.4, and you're seeing an average of a 2-minute lap from everyone else. 2-minute one, perhaps. Very well done to the organisers of this championship to keep everything as close as possible, whilst certain drivers and teams are potentially running away with it, so to speak.
Yeah,
But
there's definitely favourites and front runners forming in the guise of Toyota and Mazda for sure, because they seem to be chaining together good results. And as I've always said, consistency is key. It's all well and good winning a couple of races, and then if you have a couple of last place finishes to back that up, you're not doing yourself any favours. And the person who keeps finishing in 4th place is going to end up triumphing over you.
It's happened so many times in the past on balance of performance championships or reverse grid championships as well. Not just through this franchise running the Worlds, the Euros, or the Japanese Championship, and whichever potential championship we might go to, or the franchise might want to expand on next. Little talk of America.
There is talk of America.
Wait and bated breath of what's actually going to go on there, because America hatchback, it's a thing, but not really a popular thing.
Yeah, in the land of the sedan and the SUV, it's going to be interesting to see what they use. I have heard talk of they're going to bring in make it a multi-class thing and have like a V8 category that's going to use like pony cars and what have you, which makes sense for America.
I'd be surprised if it isn't all, V8. Therefore, just running the format, but with completely different cars, just to keep the V8 brigade happy, and any racing fans in America happy. But there is a lot of interest, but it's not enough for hatchbacks racing. Most of them you'll see them on like off-road or drifting. But we'll wait. And obviously we've been speaking about America, but it's the final lap. This quickly by, even though this is the same amount of time as transpired in previous races. Despite it being fairly sedate, it's still been quite enjoyable. And it's still not over yet, because Takahashi starting to slow down perhaps, because Butcher's gaining, even though there's one more turn to go.
Yeah, there you go.
But not enough. What a win for Subaru then. If a bit split on the results with Rustad further back. Toyota and Honda looking good. Chase are looking very good. And Muto with the front row start for Genesis next time by. Scaife with a surprisingly low 11th position. Lotterer finally being... It's not going to be enough for Mercedes if that's the form we've seen in races prior. And then further back, they're just sort of pootling around. But Takahashi's going to be very pleased with that. All the points in the bag. Muto with the fastest lap as well. So not to cap it all off, there's been a very surprise bonus for them to get the extra point in, or points in. It's a 2-point for the fastest lap. How did that go for you, Swinny?
Very entertaining. My first time here. Yeah, thumbs up. Would recommend.
and we will visit again because it's another sort of hour break, and then we'll be back racing for the reverse grid. So we'll see you then. Good racing, everyone.